The treatments for Morton's neuroma are various, and they can range in complexity from, it's quite simply just knowing that it's a neuroma and it's not your foot being close to falling off, which a lot of people are quite ready for it to do as well when they come to me, through to having surgeries. The most common treatments, however, start off with the basics. That's looking for a wider shoe, and it's a shoe that's wide enough to accommodate the whole of the foot when it's flat on the ground, and ideally when you're weight bearing, because oftentimes shoes might feel okay when you're sat down, but then when you go and stand up, the foot then splays open, and then it will mean that the pressure on the nerve is greater where that nerve sits underneath there. The next treatment might be something like an orthotic, or an insole, and that's something which goes underneath the shoe and underneath the foot even, and quite often, certainly when I'm prescribing them, we'll have a little dome that sits underneath the forefoot, so it'll sit just under there, and that'll then help to splay out the toes quite nicely. Another treatment that you might look at after you've looked at orthotics and looking at changing for wider shoes is potentially mobilization of the foot and ankle, or manipulation, and that involves taking the structures in the foot through their full ranges of motion, and then cracking the bones, kind of like a chiropractic or an osteopathic treatment. This can be highly effective, and actually it's been shown to resolve quite a lot of people's symptoms. Although I think if you wanted to go for a slightly lower level version of this, then you might just consider using something like a calf stretch board. A calf stretch board will increase the amount of flexibility in your ankle, so that way you're not putting a lot of pressure through the forefoot, and in so doing will then mean that you are going to spend less time loading or putting pressure through the forefoot. Finally, there's options for surgeries. Now, this is a bit more complicated, but in summary, there's two different types of surgery. The first type is decompression surgery, which is where a cut is made in the top of the foot, and then they cut that ligament, which then gives room for the nerve to maneuver. The next version is a neurectomy, where they cut out the nerve. Depending on whether they go through the bottom of the foot or through the top of the foot, they might actually end up doing a decompression, so cutting through that ligament, because they have to get through to the nerve, and then after that they then cut the nerve out. This is worthy of a video all of its own.